Hi there, I'm Drew Badger, the world's #1 English fluency guide, and in this video I'd like to talk about 3 simple ways that you can practice your English with native English speakers in your own country or wherever you happen to be. If you live in a native English speaking country, these things will work as well, but specifically this is a video for maybe people that don't live in an English speaking country and they write me and say, Drew, I don't have anybody to practice with. Number 1, if you have an internet connection, you can find lots of people to practice with, and you can learn more about this at EnglishAnyone.com. So we have a free quiz that people can take. If your number 1 problem is that your English is great, but you don't have anyone to practice speaking with, take our quiz and tell us that's your problem, and we will give you specific advice, even more advice than what we're giving in this video. But you can find more about that by clicking on the link in this video or on the link in the description below this video. But these are 3 things that you can physically do in person, and these are all things that I have done as well in order to practice your spoken English. Now, in the first one is nice and easy. Wherever you live, unless it's like in the middle of a jungle somewhere, and then you probably don't even have an internet connection anyway, so you're probably not watching this video. But the first thing you can do is go to a restaurant that's run like either by a foreigner that speaks English or an actual native speaker. People like, maybe myself, I would go to a Japanese restaurant when I lived in America, and I could practice speaking with the owner or any of the servers and staff that work there. You can find, some American food or some kind of place like that, probably a pizza restaurant or something. But even if the person that's working there or that owns the place is not a native speaker, it's still a place for you to go and practice. So I would actually, when I worked at a Japanese restaurant in Seattle, I used to work at a sushi restaurant there, I would get to practice with the customers as well. So if maybe you can get a job where you're even working at a restaurant where lots of native speakers come. So any situation like this where you're working in hospitality or service, so places where you can come where there are opportunities for you to meet native English speakers, either because you are working there or because you are the customer and you are enjoying those services. So the first thing you should do, wherever you are, you might need to travel somewhere, but find a restaurant that has native speakers in it or that is owned by a native speaker. You can probably look up through your local search engine, maybe American restaurants or restaurants that sell whatever, that's kind of a typical American food, maybe some barbecue or some burgers or something like that. But find something where you can go to that place and you're getting to feel like you're in that environment. I know a lot of people in Japan do that. They will go to a particular cafe that's owned by foreigners or operated by foreigners or that has foreign staff. And then those people are able to go there and then they practice their English. So it's kind of a little world, a little foreign world inside where you live. So if you can't go to a different country, find the little America within your own country. The second thing you can do, if you are not in a country where there are native English speakers or maybe not that many of them, you will probably find some places that really do have a lot of touristy places. So it doesn't matter what country you're in. If you live around any kind of people where you have foreigners that come to visit, if you can't go all the way to their country, when they come to your country, you should at least make the effort to go to them. Now, typically I would walk around if I were going to be, let's say I'm living in Thailand and I want to practice my English, I would go to where foreigners are. And one of my favorite things, even when I do this in Japan, is I ask other people to take my picture. This is a way of getting into a conversation with people and I say, hey, can you help me with this? I kind of pretend to be a tourist in my own city. So if I'm living in Nagasaki, I know lots about Nagasaki, but I pretend to be a tourist and I would go to a touristy place where there are lots of Japanese people and I say, oh, hey, could you take my picture? And again, I'm just using this as an opportunity to practice my Japanese. I don't need to be in Japan to do that. I mean, I could be at a touristy place, maybe someplace else, but Japanese just happens to be something I want to practice, but you get the idea. So even if you are Thai or even if you are from Nigeria or wherever, it doesn't matter where you're from, there are likely some places where there are foreigners around. And if you walk around and you see them, and it's obviously a touristy place where you see lots of people taking pictures, it's a very common thing for you to walk up to those people and say, hey, could you take my picture? So ask them to take your picture, and then you'll be more excited to kind of develop a conversation with them, because many people are actually a little bit too shy to speak. So they begin by saying something, and maybe they just want to start a conversation, but if you can walk up to someone and say, hey, could you take my picture? That will get them excited, and you can begin having a conversation that way and say, oh, like I'm actually from Thailand or whatever, and I'm really here. You can even tell them secretly, like, hey, don't tell anyone, but I'm here just to practice my English. And they would probably think that was very funny. I've actually said that to people here in Japan. Now, the final thing you can do, and this is what I call instant immersion, but it's a way of doing it in your native country, and this is to take a tour in your native country, but in English. You should be doing this. It doesn't matter whether even you go to an art museum and you request like the English translation of something, like you're listening to one of those little audio guides. If you go to your art museum and you're taking an art tour, you can even just do this by yourself, but just request the English version of the audio guide. But the best way to do this is to try to take an actual tour in your own country, or you can even take a tour in a different country if you want, but in English. But the reason I ask people or explain or maybe recommend people do this in their own country is because they feel a bit more comfortable about it, and they can also provide a lot of value to the people that are visiting that country. So as an example, if I am maybe a Japanese person, I'm not a Japanese person, but if I am, or if I were a Japanese person, I would take an English tour with people that are coming from America or Canada, and I would be traveling around with them as a tourist. But when they're asking me questions, I can say, oh, like here's some interesting things about Japan, and I become valuable to those people, and because of that, then they get a lot of really good ideas and they want to speak with me more. So it's a really good trade-off where you're providing local information that they might not get from somebody else. You're actually kind of like a tour guide within the group, but you're deciding to do that. So instead of taking the tour in your native language, you take it in English, and this will automatically connect you with other people. And you could even spend, like 2 or 3 days on a tour, and your English would improve dramatically. So this is a really great way. One of my best secrets in order to get out and practice with people, something I've personally done as well. But if you do this, it will again give you that instant immersion without even having to leave your own country. Just find wherever you are, just travel maybe a little bit, and you'll find some great places to have tours in English with other native speakers. If you have enjoyed this video, do click that like button. It's important for us to get more likes on these videos because now YouTube is changing its algorithm and everybody has to like a video, or you will not be able to see maybe future videos from us. So do click that like button. Do post a comment down below if you have tried these things or you will try. Let other people know what your plans are to connect with native speakers, and this will give everybody a lot more excitement and reason to get out and try it themselves. These are really great tips to help you improve. I hope you have enjoyed them. Again, if you have, click that like button and do become a subscriber to the channel if you haven't already. The final thing, the most important thing, if you are still struggling with your spoken English, do click on the link in this video or on the link in the description below this video to take our free English fluency quiz. Now, this will help you with lots of different things. It doesn't matter what you struggle with, whether it's grammar or pronunciation or vocabulary. You tell us what you're struggling with and we will provide you free information that will tell you exactly what to do to improve. And you can get that again by clicking on the link in this video or on the link in the description below this video. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and until then, get out and practice. Bye-bye.